sense of soul.
Hey Soul Seekers, it's Shanna. Journey with me to discover how people around the world awaken to their true sense of soul. Now go grab your coffee. Open your mind, heart, and soul.
It's time to awaken.
Today, back with me is one of my favorite guests that I've ever had on Sense of Soul, Shai Tubali. He is a leading authority in the field of self-development and self-empowerment. He is an international best-selling author and has written 23 books. And his book, The Seven Chakra Personality Types, is one of my favorite chakra books to help you discover the energetic forces that shape your life, your relationships, and your place in the world. He's joining us today in this episode to tell us about his newest book called Your Chakra Personality: Discover Your Soul Design Through Primary and Secondary Chakras. And I'm very excited to have him back on with us. Please welcome Shai Tubali. How are you?
So delighted to see you again. Did you get the book by any chance?
I did. I have it
Oh,
right
awesome.
here. Yep.
Awesome. Good.
And I have my other one. I feel like I really learned about the chakras through this book, and it was years ago, the beginning of my journey. And what I've learned is that when you learn about yourself, this is how you learn about the world. This is how you learn about others.
Exactly, because there's only one psyche, basically. So if you understand yourself, you understand the psyche. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Isn't that something? I've come a long way since I've talked to you. I've, done more healing within myself. I've been on all of these different journeys. Oh my gosh, I've been on a Gnostic gospel journey for like the past 3-4 years. That's been fun. Are you familiar with them?
No, actually, no, not enough.
The Gnostic Gospels are Jesus's secret teaching.
Oh, wait. Actually, no, I'm sorry. I got completely confused because I know a lot about them. I actually teach them for years.
What?
Yes. I've actually given so many teachings about these Gospels. Yes.
Wow. Okay.
And I've researched them too. Yes.
Yeah. They're very good. There's a lot of wisdom.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I've primarily taught the Gospel of Thomas.
Yeah.
But I've also delved into the other ones.
The kingdom is inside of you and outside of you. When you come to know yourself, then you will be known, like we just said.
That's actually the earliest gospel.
I believe it.
Yeah, it was the closest to Jesus' death. So that means that it's actually even more authentic than the other gospels are. So I think that's incredible.
It is. There's a lot of feminine energy in there as well, which when I think about the chakras and I think about even your books, it's the balance that we want, right? We don't want to ever just be, a patriarchal society or, even a feminine society. You know what I mean? It's about bringing the balance of energies.
Yes, it is completely. So have you learned them in what way? Like reading them or learning them in some kind of educational context?
Interesting question, because actually writing a book myself on this because it happened so divinely. So I learned them through lots of synchronicity. I was like led through a series of synchronicities to learn them. I mean, through the most ridiculous things too. And as I picked up, one of the first ones is Pistis Sophia, which is a very hard text. So this one this was older, wasn't found in the Nag Hammadi, but there's also the Sophia of Christ that was. So I wanted to know what Sophia was. It's wisdom, right? And a feminine aspect of God. So, but I didn't want anyone to tell me what it meant. I've already been down that road. For generations, my family has been told this is what this version of this story means. what was interesting, I've had so many scholars on since, and they're like telling me their, ideas of what it means. And we meet kind of, and I find it to be awesome. But yeah, I really, truly wanted to receive it for myself without anybody telling me what it means.
It's very courageous and a very profound approach.
And I believe that Jesus, he understood that we were an energetic body, right? And that we, are multidimensional and had a very good sense of his energy centers.
Extremely good sense, yes. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Enough to preserve his subtle body after death. Yes,
Right.
because that requires enormous mastery.
Yeah, the chakras are something that I feel like they should teach in school.
Yes, I wish that would have been the case, right? Because chakras are really, for me, the way I define them is the school of life. So, and this school of life has 7 different classes, and if you graduate from all these 7 classes, you have actually graduated from the school of life, and you have you can say you have realized your full human experience, its fullest potential, its fullest essence, its fullest lessons. You've really understood the lessons of life. So the 7 lessons of life are embedded in the chakras. Now, for me, actually, it all started very directly and experientially, because I found myself. You used before this kind of term of being guided towards some truth or teaching, right? So I was guided in the very same way to meet a certain American yogi, and he initiated me for 7 years into a tradition, a yogic tradition, a Hindu tradition called the Nityananda tradition. So that was a 7-year initiation. And it was all, this tradition is entirely based on subtle body knowledge, on Kundalini knowledge and chakra knowledge. So it was all very experiential, and it was through energy transmission. And I actually learned about the chakras intellectually very little. So it was directly listening to them and to their kind of direct blossoming, experiential blossoming. And then after 7 years, my teacher told me, now you've completed your learning, now you can become a teacher of your own, and so on and so forth. I didn't understand what he was talking about, because for me, I was just eager to learn more. And then I started realizing, as a result of my own experience, that chakras they held the keys to understanding not only our spiritual evolution, but also our psychological evolution. I understood that they were somehow a way to navigate the psychological map, or our psychological evolution. So that led me to a different phase. And that was, again, experiential, because I think what is really fascinating about this story is that I refused to learn from books. I simply refused to read chakra books.
Yeah.
So what I did was simply listening to my own chakra system. And in my one-on-one sessions, because I was a very active psychotherapist at that time, I would sit in front of people, and they would describe their emotional themes and their challenges, their current challenges or their traumas. And then I would ask always, where do you feel that in the body? And then I would, like a scientist, would secretly write this down in my notebook. Well, this emotion corresponds to this region in the body. And slowly I've began to gather all this massive information into what I call chakra psychology. So that was the foundation. It was experiential. Then I agreed to read books just a little bit, but there was no need anymore because chakras are so direct, such an unmediated communication with ourselves, that if you truly listen to your own chakras, you have read the book of chakras. You see?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I feel so fortunate that I really learned from you this, because I think that if I just would have learned by picking up a book that just told the descriptions of a chakra, I wouldn't have understood what you're saying. But I completely understand what you're saying because I picked up your book first. And so I learned about me first and my own body before I really understood, how they correlated with all the other wonderful things about chakras. And I
Yes.
can't even have a conversation with people without thinking, I wonder where that's coming from. That's really in the root chakra, or, I think like this naturally now.
First of all, we need to always remember the way chakras came into being. The very concept was the result of the seers of India, the sages of India, about 2,500 years ago, and perhaps even 3,000 years ago. That's the only the documented encounter with the chakras. So the seers of India, they just sat, meditated, and listened to the subtle flow within their bodies, and began to map this inner world, the innermost world. So chakras can only be understood as a combination of intellectual knowledge. It's good to have some theoretical orientation because that helps you to lean on something, to have some reference point when you are contemplating your own reality. But the thing is, chakras are a living, dynamic, vibrant reality. So you can never say just intellectually, well, this originates from my heart chakra, because that is not always so. Sometimes you have a certain emotional theme, but it originates from your sacral chakra or from your root chakra. So unless you listen to the chakras very closely and to the way they lead you to the source of conflict, confusion, challenge, or whatever, you will not be able to get in touch with what they have to tell you. This is what I call being a chakra whisperer. It's beginning to listen to your chakras on a daily basis, and whenever one has a challenge, one can simply listen to that challenge and then begin to see where that challenge resonates the most in one's body. And then if we have some kind of intellectual knowledge, theoretical knowledge, we are able to slowly trace back this challenge all the way to its original root cause chakra.
The way I teach Reiki, I also teach the chakras through the developmental stages, from 0 to 7, every 7 years, all the way up to the crown at 49, which I'm almost 40. Yeah. Can you believe it?
I'm also reaching that.
But it's not over. Now we get to do it with wisdom, right? We get to do it more
Beautiful.
consciously. That's what I always say to people. So they're like, so what happens? You get to the end of it and you're done? I'm like, no, you just started. Now you get to do it with an awakened view of the world.
The age of 49, this is usually in the ancient ashram system, the system of renunciation in Hinduism. It's exactly when usually you get to renounce the world and devote yourself to the divine. So that means that you have in a way accomplished, you've completed your commitment to the world, and now you can actually take a step further in your relationship with the higher reality.
I find it interesting when I first did my 7 chakra personality type. I thought I was going to be one way. Okay, so we always think we know, right? I just assumed. But then as I really went deeper into it, I was finding myself leaning more towards this one, surprisingly, and not so much as what I thought. It's kind of like your sun sign. Like I'm a Taurus, but most of my life, I was in my head. Most of my life, I was not grounded, but it was always something that I needed to connect with. When I originally did this, I was far away from the root. And I was just like, I am far away from my astrological sign. So I was like, this is interesting, but it's always something I need. So it's not something that's like ever out of my scope because I'm always trying to ground myself. I start every single morning outside with nature, every morning, because I know I need it. You know, I
Yes,
need that grounding.
yes,
So
yes.
it's still a huge part of my energy, my practice, but
Mm.
it's not my home.
So of course, you made me very curious to know about your primary chakra type, how you identify yourself presently.
I'm such a giver, and I dealt a lot with codependency, and I'm a mother. I'm a mother. And I always really, really worshipped that.
Explore this because I
Yeah.
think that's a way to learn about it. First of all, there is a distinction that we need to make between the primary chakra type and the secondary chakra type. Now, the primary chakra type is responsible for our essence. It is our most intimate, deepest soul essence, which means it's our deepest passion. What makes us the happiest in life, what makes us feel at home within ourselves, what makes us feel the most alive. But then that kind of essence uh, radically depends on it's the way we express ourselves in the world. So let me give you an example. My primary chakra type is the third eye, which means that my greatest joy in life is learning, researching, going very deeply into things. It's all about depth observation, understanding, the ecstasy of insights, the wisdom.
Yeah.
But my expression is the throat chakra type. Just as you just said, it's all about educating, influencing, manifesting all sorts of educational systems and writing and teaching. Now, the thing is that if I sit in front of people and teach, I am fulfilled, but I'm not in my happiest state.
Mm.
You see it, so there is a very delicate tension because my greatest joy is sitting in the room and writing or researching. My greatest expression is lies in education, influence, and teaching.
Yeah.
So this creates a certain tension between the primary and the secondary chakra type, and very often they actually have a certain struggle. And
Oh,
sometimes when we experience this kind of duality within ourselves, like there are different inner voices pulling each in its own direction, it is because there is a certain, war between, war for dominance between the primary and the secondary type. And this is the thing that perhaps you find reflected in you, that there is a certain tension between what we can call happiness and fulfillment. Because fulfillment is the way we extend our being to the world, the way we manifest who we are, our gifts, and whereas essence is what makes us feel like we're really getting closer, moving closer to our soul design, to the way we're built, to the way we see the world. So what would it be in light of this kind of reflection?
my third eye and my throat were almost equal, by the way. So I was really like, that's a really close one for me. But I know, but like it was
Yes.
my heart, like that was like without a doubt. There was no maybe or not. But my voice, I never had a voice before. So it's definitely not my first.
You're finding your manifestation, you're finding your expression, you're finally pursuing your highest capacity as a manifestor.
Yeah.
If I may guess, and that would be a wild guess, so sorry
Uh-huh.
for even doing that, but just for the fun of it, my guess is that it's the heart chakra type as the primary.
It is.
The secondary is the fifth, the throat chakra type, and the supportive is the third eye, which
Yep.
means that it's where you derive your power, your strength. It's the supportive is actually a very beautiful chakra because it's where we return to when we need nourishment, when we need soul nourishment, when we need to find empowerment and inspiration. This is where we go. So that's our empowering or nourishing chakra. And we need that because each one of us has this kind of, it's a great life mission, sometimes quite tedious and quite challenging to pursue our manifestation, our expression, and our soul essence. So sometimes we get tired or we feel malnourished, or we feel that we need our resources, our source of empowerment, and then we have our supportive chakra type. It's what that which gives us the fuel to
Yeah.
go to keep going.
You're so right. That's so right. And it's interesting. I can think about the challenges I've had with all three, right? I can think about the challenges of like not having self-love, right? And only, loving outside of me and not ever filling up that cup for myself, only giving, giving, giving. And I often find myself back into that space, remembering that I need to, take care of myself first. So that's always a struggle. Of course, with the voice, I mean, like I said, I felt like I never had a voice. And when I finally found it, it was like, oh, I found it. And, I've also struggled with, I have ADHD, right? I mean, it's a struggle for me to get things finished or to stay on task or to not just read one book. I'll be reading 5 books at one time. That's how I am. That's where the main energy is for me, though. That's where it's always focused all, I mean, I would love to be the medium and talking to the other side all the time and getting answers, but it's not all, my world isn't always like that. Also, I need to be grounded more, right? Because I am always in my head. So
Yes, no, that's a very beautiful and conscious analysis. This is exactly how we're getting closer to ourselves, right? First of
yeah.
all, there is we understand that there is the foundation of self-love, which is I think that very often we are told to love ourselves, but we don't always know what it is that we're supposed to love.
Yeah.
We don't have a clear understanding of our true self, the self that we're supposed to love, with its gifts and limitations. So first, there is a whole process of getting to know that which we're supposed to love, you see? Because only when I know myself can I finally say I love this self. Otherwise, what we're trying to love is very often buried deep beneath all kinds of self-images and
Yeah.
social adaptation that has become our personality. This is not who we are. So to feel at home within myself is first of all to know myself. That's how it starts, and this is how the chakra personality type system is there to help us do that. And what I like about what you just said is also when you mentioned grounding, because when you look at your system, suppose it is right, and this is the trio, which is the heart chakra, the throat chakra, and the third eye. Then one of the keys in this system is also to notice what is not there. Not only focus on what is there, but wait, where is the first? where is the second? So that means that in a sense, their absence is actually an indication that if we want to balance our excesses, if we want to reach wholeness, we also need to somehow coach ourselves, make ourselves aware of all those missing chakras and enhancing them. We don't need to enhance them greatly, but to at least take care of them, nurture them. Otherwise, we are going to become just our own personality type overflowing and becoming inevitably unbalanced.
For myself, I'll be like a balloon.
Exactly. That's indeed a very airy constellation. It's like it's very airy and gentle and also really beautiful, by the way, because it means that there is a lot of a great delicate energy and tenderness and emotionality and inspiration and being in a state of constant vision almost and depth of emotions. But it
Come
needs that
down
kind,
here.
yes,
Come
yes.
down.
You know that sometimes we can derive that kind of coming down by making sure that there are enough people around us who naturally
Yep.
embody these
Yep.
qualities. So they compensate for our lack, and so we don't always need to have it ourselves fully.
So my partner is a builder.
Oh,
He is the
oh,
root, right? So complete, and I was shocked because I was like, because I am nothing like that, and so I was like, gosh, I really could, but when you're nothing like that, I need that, right? And I know that I examine this a lot in myself. I need more drive. I need more groundedness. I need more connection with that space, that darkness of the womb. And I say darkness because I'm such a visual person, so it's the only way I can explain. But all those spaces that I'm not close with, I'm always working on. So I am close with them because I've had to work on them the most.
yes, yes. It's genius that you're with the builder.
I know,
Because,
thank God.
because did you know that builder and the caretaker, the heart chakra type, this is the best combination in terms of partnership in the entire chakra type system. That means because both of these types, they have this inclination toward peace and harmony, wanting to appreciate and greatly this kind of creation of harmonious systems, harmonious units. So that is a very good, they are like the greatest peacemakers in the whole system.
I've been studying Mother Mary. Mother Mary
Oh,
in the apocryphal texts, the Gnostic texts, and also in the Quran tell her story as a child. And, I think of Joseph, who is the carpenter, he's the builder, and actually he's away a lot and on business, well, supposedly. But and then you have Mary, like this mother figure. So you have both of these two archetypes, which kind of describe just what you said. Is it most commonly that we do end up finding a partner that is more balancing for us?
yes, it is very perceptive to say that, but it's also a bit complex. So let's explore that because yes, one, we are looking for intuitively for those who have embody naturally those kinds of gifts. Sometimes we resent their gifts, and this is when that implies that we unconsciously are with them, needing their gifts, but also resenting their gifts because they are unlike our own personality design. So we need, when we begin to appreciate that person in front of us, next to us, thinking, oh, so I've chosen this person to be with because they actually have something to teach me. So I need to have this kind of humility, this kind of humbleness and gratitude. Thank you for embodying what is missing inside me, instead of reproaching them, saying, well, you should have the same set of values like I do. So that is a first major insight. The second insight is that often we find a partner also sharing not only balancing us, but also sharing our shadow work. So that is a very interesting point when we grow conscious of our chakra type and the other's chakra type. We begin to realize, oh, we have a certain shared challenge, and that's also why we picked each other. You see, it's because we had this kind of intuition. Let's work together on our shadow. Let's empower each other, not to deepen our shadow, not to escape it, but to become conscious of it together and to support each other in liberating ourselves from it.
When I had you on last, I had my best friend Mandy with me, and Mandy and I had very similar types, right? So her and I always feel like, I mean, she could read my mind, like she doesn't have to speak, like I know. Yeah. And I love that about her. We understand each other because we are so close in our personality types. Where the opposite of me, right? My partner sometimes, I'm like, let's talk, let's work this out. Let's talk about our emotions and let's think about what we can do about this. And he's like, just leave me alone. I want my space. I'm good. Right. And I'm not good because I have like unfinished business. I want to make sure you're okay. Right. So it's interesting to know each other's types because it can really help your relationship.
Oh yes, exactly. Because then we understand that sometimes we, for instance, a heart chakra type would never understand other people who are not in touch with their emotions naturally, who don't find the significance and also the immense beauty of sitting together and attaining this kind of intimacy of acknowledging each other's emotions and also resolving conflicts consciously, because that's for a heart chakra type is a triumph. It's not just resolving a problem, it's also moving to a next level of communication, moving to a next level of in a way emotional insight and depth. So for a heart chakra type, that's simply incomprehensible. They look at the other chakra types completely bewildered. And then a third eye chakra type who is completely used to analyzing their emotions, observing them from afar, and as if they were scientists exploring something in the lab.
Right.
So they would look at the heart chakra type and they would think, what are these hypersensitive, awkward people? So this is exactly when I begin to understand, hopefully together as a couple or as friends, why we amplify each other's conflicts, or why one would prefer to avoid a certain thing, and that why avoidance, it doesn't always mean that one resists emotional depth, but that one simply doesn't have that kind of depth. You see, it's simply and one is not supposed to have that kind of depth. So that, I think, gives us especially for the heart chakra type, it's a training in opening their hearts even more. You see, because opening the heart is not only about teaching others to love and to be open-hearted, but also to be able to include other people's journeys, their needs, and their makeup.
I love that. Like I said at the beginning, you learn to know yourself. You do understand the world differently, but I feel like the most important thing that I've learned, especially like with my children, like I chose their religion before they were born. I mean, to think that is so crazy now. I chose what sports they would like. They weren't even born. You know what I mean? Now that I've learned that I am unique and I have my own individual journey, and allowing them to do that and allowing them to lead me and tell me what they like as it should be. But, a lot of us say, oh, my kid, when I have a kid, they're going to go to this college. I want them to be a doctor or a lawyer. You've already chosen their personality. I learned through that allowing other people to be who they are and meeting them, right? We all are so unique. We all have such special gifts. And of course, we all have different personalities. We have different archetypes that live within us.
Yes, 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 yes. Wow,
Yeah.
that is incredibly beautiful. What you're saying now, and the fact that you are learning that first of all they are fortunate to have this kind of mother,
Well,
and no, they are fortunate because you are that conscious enough to embrace the first lesson of love, because I think what we don't understand about love is that actually the first step toward love is not union. Sometimes we have this kind of fantasy of being one with the other, and that is love, this kind of creating wholeness or creating one unit composed of two. But this is not how the first step. The first step is respect. And respect is actually the greatest value that most people don't learn. Because that requires emotional maturation. Respect means that I see you as a fully embodied, independent journey, soul journey. And that kind of journey is not my own journey. And I train myself to begin to see the whole of you outside of me, you see? So you're not my projection, you are not my image, you're not something for me to mold. You are a completely separate being. Now, if I have this kind of separateness, then I cultivate respect, and on the basis of that, we can move to the next level, which is love. And love is the ability also to diffuse these two separate journeys into one without damaging the separateness. You see, it's retaining that kind of glorious God-given or cosmic-given kind of independence, autonomy. So, and I think that this is what the personality type system helps us to do, is to begin to see, oh, this person has a completely different set of values, a completely different way of experiencing life. They even perceive life differently. They interpret things differently, and that's a design. It's not a mistake. It's not something that, well, right now they are in this condition, but one day I will change them. One day I will show them the light. One day I will show them how they're really supposed to see reality, which is, I think, what we harbor
Yep.
deep inside when we look at our partners, children, parents.
It's best to know your personality types before, and then now how that can help you along your path.
Because the first book, The Seven Chakra Personality Types, was a comprehensive journey, helping us to identify our primary chakra type. Now, that's the most important thing, because if I know my chakra type, this is the key to understanding what my deepest soul essence is, my deepest passion, my deepest happiness, and but there are the two other chakras that are a part of the interplay of our personality. And without understanding this kind of three-type system, their interplay, how to balance them, how to make them to communicate with each other, how to use these three numbers, because for me these are three holy numbers. You see, for you supposedly it's 4, 5, 6. Now, for me, looking at these three innocent numbers is actually a way to delve into an indescribably profound inner world, and enabling me to answer so many questions about my or your life's greatest dilemmas, to know what to do on certain important junctions, to know how I should navigate the most important moments of my life. So, and also even to create my own coaching process, and what to do when I feel, when I identify that there is a certain inner quarrel within me, how to know which voice to follow. So without this knowledge of the three chakra type system, I don't have the understanding of my nuanced personality, how to navigate its greatest challenges. So that's why I had to create that other book.
And you talk about like, it's so beautiful how you say the chakra flowering. And that's kind of like what I imagine when I'm able to truly connect with a chakra. It is like a flowering, right? It's like you're opening up to this energy within you that is eternal, each one, and going deep into that to connect with it and just really fully understand, how it is existing in this lifetime.
Yes, exactly. That's really lovely. Yes, because for me also flowering is the closest way, the way that is the closest metaphor to what a balanced and awakened chakra is like. Because when a chakra is unbalanced, it is actually like a closed flower. It is deep within our central channel, and it is hidden. It is withdrawn. It is as if our energy collapses into ourselves. Now, when a chakra begins to bloom, that means that it always blooms facing the world. Now, as it blooms, that implies its willingness to embrace, or our willingness to embrace specific challenges, specific situations in the world that are related to that specific chakra. You see, so when the chakra is withdrawn, it is as if we say, no, I'm not going to participate in this conscious resolution of my challenge. I'm not going to face it. I don't want to contain it, to handle it. So that is why a chakra in its flowering, and we can actually, by the way, do it ourselves through visualization. Simply, when you feel that your chakra is closed, that it is resistant, that it is withdrawn, simply visualize a flower budding from the depth of that chakra. Let it blossom all the way, and when that flower is fully open, that means that you say, yes, I'm here. Yes, I'm available. I'm going to face that challenge, even if that challenge is difficult, because the greatest difficulty is the resistance to the challenge, not the challenge itself.
That's beautiful. You went in a lot of detail about each chakra in this book, giving a lot more information about the individual chakras.
More, I would say, about their interrelationship and how each chakra functions either as a primary type, or a supportive, or a secondary type, and even as a supportive type. Because now it is time for me in this book to help people understand how these chakras work with each other
together.
because managing this kind of interplay means that we have a certain wonderful symphony within ourselves, where The primary is truly the primary. The primary governs my happiness, my essence, my passion, but also, by the way, interestingly, my greatest friction with the world. So that is also my most important life theme, the one that is my master for life, the one that is going to show me. It's like the root cause of all my conflicts, major conflicts with life, and the root cause of my shadow work. And that is why I need to work with the primary chakra type also for this.
Well, that is so
To
true.
mm,
That is so true because, like I was telling you about that self-love thing and that codependency that I have, but also there was this place where when I did find that self-love, I was like, oh, I'm choosing me. I'm choosing me. And there became an out of balance from that because then I was feeling this war. You mentioned war of me wanting to help everybody and wanting to say yes all the time and me saying no because I was, gonna, be this new Shanna who had self-love and I had, I learned to say no.
yes, I can, of course, actually can sympathize with this kind of life lesson. Well, when you choose you, of chakra development, that means that you choose also independence, because independence means that you choose autonomy, you choose yourself as a source, you also choose yourself as in the sense that you are responsible for your happiness. So there's a lot that is that this kind of choice of oneself entails, you see.
And when I start working with my secondary, right, it was like, oh, yes, this is good. This no, right? But then my heart was like, but yes. For me, this makes perfect sense. So to nourish this, right, to continue to, because first of all, we talk about flowers and thank God I've come a long way. I used to be a mass murderer when it came to keeping plants alive, and now I'm doing really well. But to keep that balance and not overwatering, right? And to find
Yes.
balance like for that purpose that we have. I mean, there's a reason, like you said, it's not an accident, that we are
Yes.
designed this way.
It's very important to understand our secondary chakra type, to identify it, and it's not always a quick process, and it's actually we need to enjoy this kind of process of self discovery. It's not like astrology or numerology where you just insert your numbers and you get an immediate already accomplished reflection of yourself. It's a process of self discovery because purpose is something actually very delicate, and we need to gradually distinguish it from self-image, from what we think we're supposed to do or supposed to be, simply because we've adapted and shaped our personality around other people's expectations. So, and even our own expectations.
Yep.
So first of all, we need to be able to do that, and for that, this is the process of the discovery of the chakra types. So, and that also includes being able to identify our life theme, our major friction with the world, why we have certain traumas that have remained so unforgettable and unerasable within our system, you see, because these kinds of imprints, they are also the result of our primary chakra type. So there is a whole process of beginning to learn what our purpose is, how to peel away all those layers that hinder that, and that requires a process of self-awareness. So that is, but I think it's joyful.
You know what's interesting? I'm looking back in my book. I like this chart. The heart, that's my home, but the second and third were, I mean, because you can add up your numbers and you can actually find it. And mine were exactly the same. So for my throat and my third eye, I sat with which one, you know, I was more in. At the time, I was more in my throat at the time. But I just was moving into my third eye in that journey for like the last few years. And that's where I feel like I've been more. But then there's still this
Mm,
relationship with what I feel everything I've learned, I want to share, like what you said, right?
mm,
Because I always feel like anything that I've learned that I feel is helpful or insightful, I want to share. I mean, that's what this
yes, yes.
podcast is about, right? And working with my second and third chakra helps me move out of codependency. So helps me still give others that love through wisdom and my voice. Where before it was almost dysfunctional because I was giving because I wanted to receive back. Do you see what I'm saying? Am I making any sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Perfect
Well,
sense, actually. Yes, because they balance each other,
yes. Yes.
empower each other. That's I think the genius of our constellation, because and that is one of the reasons that I wrote this book. It's not enough to know your primary chakra type, because you also need to see how the universe so geniusly created you through three major forces in a way that also softens some of the themes of your primary chakra type, in a way that empowers some things that you're missing in your primary chakra type. So when you learn to also make use of these advantages of empowerment and softening, then you are able to work consciously with your system.
Wow. Yeah.
Yes.
So, okay, so you kind of mentioned a little bit of yours because you said you like to learn and then you like to teach. What's your third?
Well, I'm a troublemaker. My third, my supportive type is actually the solar plexus chakra type.
All
No,
right.
so that means that it's a very energetic kind of constellation, because my source of nourishment is actually lies in ambition and achievement,
Okay.
and endless movement forward. So that creates, let's say, an overactive kind of system
I need to be more
that
that.
I can
Because
give
I
you.
could care less about achievements.
Because usually for people, their supportive type is the part where they're being nourished. You see,
Yeah.
when they can rest.
Yeah.
But in the solar plexus chakra type, there is no rest. It's simply more ignition. It's further enhancement. So
Yeah.
this is my system, and that means, of course, that
I
I
love it.
need to look at my missing chakras
Mhm.
for balance.
Wow.
Fortunately, I surround myself with people who have these missing
Yes.
chakras.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
I see this, this
yeah,
trinity, happening
yes.
and I really feel like when I am doing that, I am in my purpose. I can feel it, right? I mean,
Mm,
it's aligned. I'm aligned, right?
yes.
And then I definitely need to go ground myself because I might be too much in that, right? So how do you work with like that solar plexus energy? Is it like the drive and the passion for you to, learn more and teach more? Is that where that goes together?
Yes, yes. That means that my supportive chakra acts as a constant amplifier of the other two. So that means that I would feel that there is no end to learning, there is no end to curiosity, to research. That of course I would be compelled to write as many books as possible, and I've already written over 20 books. And that's just the beginning for me. So there is like it's like a ceaseless fire, But the way I think one of, for me, the major way in which I balance it is by cultivating a very, very relaxed lifestyle. So that kind of, in Hinduism, it is called sattvic, sattva. Sattva is this kind of lifestyle that sustains a overstimulated nervous system, and that maintains a kind of calm, that promotes inner peace. And that, I think, is my foundation. So each one finds, and I also live in nature, so that also relaxes my nerves.
Yeah.
So,
Yes,
so
that
this
helps.
is how we learn to, because for this kind of constellation, living in the midst of a city, that would be truly damaging. So this is how we learn through our constellation to ensure that we live a healthy way of life.
This system, you can really learn to know yourself. It's really amazing. I'm so glad that you are in your sixth chakra so that you can help all of us figure it out. The way that you've laid it out is so fun because it takes you on a journey.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Shai. It's been so great to have you again. I really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, it's always so extraordinary to have a dialogue with you, truly,
Yes.
truly, because it involves the heart chakra, the throat chakra, and the third eye. So it feels like it. Yes.
Tell everybody where they can buy your book, your website.
The book itself, well, it's available everywhere. It's with Llewellyn worldwide, so it's so it appears on Amazon and of course everywhere else. And there is my official website, which is shaitubali.com. That also includes, by the way, a current annual course titled Chakra Informed Therapy and Coaching. So that's a professional training for those interested in being informed by the by chakra wisdom to become better therapists and coaches. Yes. And my last invitation is my YouTube channel under my name, which includes over 800 videos with so many explanations about how to live spirituality on a daily basis, how to incorporate the chakra personality type into your life, and the guided meditation. So I think that's a very useful resource.
Thank you so much. You take care. And if you come out with any more books, since you're, your third chakra might keep pushing out more books. So let me know. I would love to have you back. So thank you.
Of course. Of course. Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Sense of Soul.